Good evening. I nearly went into Good Morning Vietnam then. Good evening. It's Jules Wyman here from juleswyman.com, and just a quick fiddle with the camera because otherwise that's going to distract me even because I had a blob on the screen that was sat right in my forehead. So good evening. Oh, people are jumping on straight away. How are you? Good evening. Say hi. Do drop down and say hi. Because it's lovely to give people a shout out at the beginning of, as people say hi, because I can see who's there, and it's a great way, like if people were turning up at my house for a party, it's a great way to be able to welcome you. So just say hi. You don't have to say anything else or join in any further way. You can follow the lovely Laura and the lovely Caroline's leads there with saying hi. It's always great to know who's here, and it's lovely because those people, and I do know that there are a lot of you who watch the recordings. So to those of you who watch the recordings, hello, this is just for you. Because a lot of people come up and say, oh, I can never make Monday at 7 o'clock, but I always watch it when I get in from, and then tell me where it is that they've been, and where it is that what it is that they've got from the session that they've just watched again, and that they watch it that night or the next morning. Hi Lenka, how lovely to have you here this evening. Haven't caught up with you for a while. Oh, nearly did that thing of deleting people again. And Caroline's always a joy at saying hello to everybody, which is really sweet. So for those of you that are joining, do join in with the other ladies that have, and if you're a gentleman, obviously, please do the same thing. And just drop down and say hi. And if you join on the live recording, I can give you a shout out. And again, for those of you who are watching on the replay, on the recording, special hello to you as well. And thank you for taking the time. This is something that I do regularly, and some of you will know that, some of you may not know that. So the first few minutes are always about me getting comfortable and having a fiddle around with the cushion and cameras and usually hair and that kind of thing. But it's also about making sure that you are aware of my intent behind doing the confidence conversations, and also looking so that you can know, have the best of intentions to get whatever you can for yourself. Hi Joanne, how lovely to have you here as well. And it's a reminder as well of the various things that you can do during this call, because this isn't just about me sitting here and waffling on till my heart's content. This is about us having a conversation, and you can join in, of course, as much or as little as you want to. And even if you are watching it on the recording, you can type in as you would watching it live, because I will still get the notification that you've made a comment, and I do always come back and have a conversation with you, although obviously it's not on camera. It'll be in text, but I will answer anything, any questions or any flag ups that you've put in that conversation. And my invitation to you is not to wait. Well, no, let me change that. My invitation for you is to know that you can type in your thoughts on this topic, or questions about what information I've shared, or anything at all. At any point, please do not feel like you've got to wait. You have my full permission. If you're the kind of person that needs permission, you have my full permission to type at any point and share your insights, thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, bank details if you so wish. This is about you. This is about whatever you need. And obviously, when there is a great deal of interaction, then I can bounce ideas and thoughts and my experiences as of 12 years plus now of being a coach and specialising in confidence, and see where you're at, so I can match that in with what's going on, if that makes sense. It's the same with any of the emojis. It's lovely if, as I'm sharing information, if things are making sense, let me know, whether it's through the thumbs or the hearts, or even if I tell a joke that you actually find funny, you can do the humorous laughter as well. But equally, if something isn't making sense, and I say this at every time, is that rather than do the angry or the sad face, can you let me know and say that this isn't making sense, but can you be specific? Because there is a slight time delay between me saying things and obviously then you hearing it and then you typing it. So sometimes I might have gone further down the road with that and may not be able to connect that doesn't make sense with the same thing. So give me a little clue as to which bit doesn't make sense. And it's important to recognise that I have my way of explaining things. That doesn't make my way right. I just have my way of explaining things. And sometimes when I explain things in my way, that may not be in the way that it would make sense for you. So by coming back and letting me know and saying that doesn't make sense and being specific about which bit, I may have other ways of explaining it that would make more sense. So it's not about us being stupid. I know for me, I would quite often sit in this kind of environment and think, oh God, everyone else is getting it and I'm not. And I'd be really concerned about that. Whereas now I've recognised that so often that there are a number of people doing that, and it takes one person to put their hand up and say, could you explain that in another way? Or could you give me some more information about that? Or I'm not quite getting that. That then I, in this instance as the teacher, can give me the opportunity to explain in a different way. And by doing that, we can potentially help other people within the classroom as well. So if you're not going to raise your hand or query something, do it for yourself, do it for somebody else, because I can pretty much guarantee that somebody else will really appreciate you asking the question or sharing or challenging my perspective. I've spoken so much today, I'm tripping over my own words again. So, hey Rebecca, how lovely to have you on board as well. So at the moment, it seems like we have a full ladies' house, which is joyous. And there is something else, and in fact, let me just move that out of the way and do this on here, because it's much easier than doing it on my phone. Because I know that for some people who do watch this, again, whether it's live now or in the recording, haven't grabbed themselves the copy of my 7 Keys of Confidence. And so let me put the link for it in the comments bit below. And once that is up there, if it will let me, will it let me? Yes, it will. I will pin that to the top so that makes it easy for you to be able to see it as well. Oh, I don't know whose face that was that did a big smiley hi then. Whoever it is, hello. But the 7 Keys of Confidence, and the reason I'm flagging that up now is because we're talking about confidence basics this evening. And the 7 Keys of Confidence is a webinar that I recorded probably about 5 or 6 years ago now. And I still have people coming up to me now talking about the impact of certain of the keys, because it gives you 7 locks and 7 keys and how you can access them and undo them. And the 7 Keys of Confidence, I also did a video version of it on here. So if you prefer to watch them broken down into 7 videos, then they are on the video section on here as well. But I want to put them there because the link is there. You can access it for free. It's the webinar. You can either listen to it or watch it or both. And there's a workbook there for you. So you can go and grab that and make sure that you've got it, because there are some great basics in there about confidence that's so important to refresh and go back to, because whenever you have a challenge around confidence, however that's showing up, however you're perceiving it, there are a number of different angles that if I was working with you one-on-one, there are different angles that I would be listening out for in the questions that I would ask you to get an understanding of how you are blocking your access to confidence. And you'll notice that I talk a lot about accessing your confidence as opposed to building it or boosting it. Now, just before I go on, no, I'm just checking. I could see something out the corner of my eye, and I wasn't quite sure whether that meant that the internet had gone down or not, but I'm still here. Yeah, so you'll notice that I talk about accessing confidence. Oh, hey, Deborah, how lovely to have you here, all the way from across the pond over there. I hope you're well. I talk about accessing it because I personally don't believe it's something that needs to be built or boosted or developed or constructed or created or forced in any way. What I do believe is that for all of us, we have confidence. We may not necessarily be engaging with it or accessing it because we've got different blockers in the way. And quite often you will have heard me refer to that I perceive confidence is like the sun. You know, even though the sun, we can't see the sun here now in the UK because it's nighttime, but I know the sun is still there, and we didn't actually see the sun, well, certainly not in York today, but it was still there, even though there were clouds in the way. We know that the clouds are still there, and sorry, the sun is still there, even though there are clouds in the way. And that's how I perceive confidence. Confidence is always there. It's just that these clouds get in the way, and that's why I talk about accessing it, because it's about seeing and noticing and hearing and getting an awareness of what these clouds are. Not so that we can go cloud busting, but interestingly enough, the more we understand those clouds, the more awareness we have of those clouds, the clouds actually start to lift more and more, and those rays of confidence, for want of carrying on the analogy, can actually permeate, and we can access that with far more clarity, like a blue sky day. Is that making sense? Let me know if that makes sense. Oops. I nearly wore my tea as opposed to drink it then. I'm hoping that's making sense. I haven't seen any thumbs go across yet, but there we go. Just as I said that, one appeared. So it's making one bit of sense to one person. So that's great. So the first, there's some more going across now. Fantastic. Oh, and I want to flag up as well that stay on till the end, because I have a particular, there's lots of thumbs going across now, thank you. And if you haven't said hello, please feel free to join in and say hello at any point. It'd be lovely to connect with you and say hi. And I've also got something at the end that I want to share with you. I've not shared publicly with anybody yet, so you will be the first to know. Whoever you are watching this will be the first to know. So make sure you stay to the end of this session, that I've got something, something to share. So one of the basics around confidence that I would like to offer, and bearing in mind that I know that there are lots of different viewpoints on this, I'm basing this on about 12 years worth of working with confidence, looking into it, understanding it for myself as well as for others. And it's a journey that I have been on personally, which I'm not going to share this evening, mainly because I want to make sure that I'm giving you information. This isn't about me in that sense. So this is my view, and I know that this is backed up with some research, and equally it's being challenged as well in a number of different ways. Hey Joel, nice to have you here. Haven't seen you here before. This is great, lovely. We have a gentleman in the room, hurrah! So the question that I get asked a lot is around confidence is, are we born with it? Or is it something that, is it something that we either have or we don't have, and that's it? Well, in actual fact, yes, is the answer. Because there is some research that has proven that there is such a thing as confidence genes. and that you can or cannot be born with confidence genes. And there's 4, I believe, but you could be born with one of them, or you could be born with all 4 of them. But it comes back to that nature-nurture argument that happens time and time and time again, because you could have all 4 of those confidence genes, but not being in an environment that nurtures that confidence, and so therefore you may have to learn that later in life. Or you could have one of those confidence genes and you are in an environment that does nurture that, and you already have access to your confidence. So whether you have the confidence gene or not isn't the key. The key is about whether you are accessing it and whether you are recognizing that it's something that can be, what's the word I'm looking for? It's something that can be worked on. I was coaching with a client today, and she reminded me of a quote of one of my postcards, which is a Dan Gilbert quote, which is human beings are... done it again. I've forgotten it. Human beings are a work in progress that mistakenly think they're finished. And I think that's what we all do. We make this decision of going, this is who I am, and we list out all these, what we think are our traits, our character traits, but actually they're not. There are behaviours, and quite often there are conditioned behaviours, learned behaviours. That's not who we are. So we've always got the possibility, the majority of us, to be able to change those behaviours. Now, I'm not saying that's easy, but that's a key thing to recognise, that there was a vast chunk of my life where I was not accessing my confidence at all, and I didn't have self-esteem, and I didn't have self-respect and self-worth and all of those other things that are connected with this self-belief that was connected around confidence. I didn't have. It was very, very low. So I'm a pure example that it can be something that you can learn to access. So that's the first basic that I want you to remember, that no matter where you are in your relationship with confidence, that relationship is something that can be developed, that can be accessed in a different way. It can be a way for you to be able to, there is a way for you to be able to communicate that in a different way. And that's why I put up the link that I've pinned to the top of this about the 7 keys, because there are some key areas where those 7 keys give you the opportunity to see the locks that might be blocking you, and therefore then the keys that can open that up. So if you're somebody that is, well, it doesn't matter where you are on that journey with confidence, doing like chopping hands motion then, I don't quite know why. But no matter where you are on that journey, listen to those 7 keys if you haven't done already, because it will give you something. I can guarantee one of them will resonate with you. It will give you the opportunity to be able to connect with those in a way that is, it gives you an in, it gives you something to start working on. You don't have to do all 7, just choosing one will give you an opportunity to start to see things in a slightly different way and access that confidence in a different way. Gentlemen, yes, some of the time, Joel, some of the time. Confidence is available for everyone. It might take some work, but it is doable. I'm with you in having taken that journey, Jules. Yeah, and there are many people that have, and I think it's so important. Thank you for sharing, Joel, that it's important to recognise. So often when we meet somebody, we make assumptions that they are, people will say to me, oh, you must have always been like this. No. And I repeat again, no. So it's important to recognise that it is something that can be worked on. It is something that you can learn to access. So, be gentle with yourself at that point. Hey, Shelley, lovely to have you here. So the next thing that I wanted to share with you about confidence as a confidence basic, I want to use the analogy, and again, I was reminded of this today in a conversation with somebody else around, and they brought it up actually, and they said that they've just done quite an amazing deal in business. They're starting out in a new business, as well as doing about 15 other things at the same time. But they've just done something really quite amazing, and it's a new step in this direction of this business. And what we were talking about is that she had said how scary and nervous she felt, and she was describing that sensation, what that sensation felt like. And I said to her, because I know she's going on holiday soon, and I said, are you excited about your holiday? Oh my gosh, yeah. And I said, can you describe that feeling? And we were on Skype, and she suddenly like kind of looked at me and was like, well, I suppose it feels very similar to the nervousness, the scarediness that I was feeling. And I said, yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, that actually that sensation, whether it's butterflies in the stomach or sweaty palms or a little bit kind of jittery excitement, whatever it may be, for so many people, the sensation around nervousness and the sensation around excitement, they actually are experienced within the body as the same thing. And the reason I use that in this context is because, to me, what that reminds me of is that it shows us it's not what's going on in our body, but it's how we're describing it up here. And if you have watched any of my videos, especially in the last 2 or 3 months, you will know how much I bang on about it being about how are you describing it, what are you making up, what's the story that you're telling yourself. Because when you're describing something in a certain way, you're therefore going to react to that thing in a certain way. If I'm describing it as I'm nervous, then I'm going to experience that nervous. But if I get that sensation and I go, oh, that could be excitement, that could be nervous, it could be a mixture of both, I can have a different experience because it's about how I'm describing it. The analogy that I use in my Truth About Confidence talk is that, or not the analogy, the story that I tell, is if you imagine that you are in a project with work with 5 other people, and you get on with all of those people except one. Now, one person in the group, you get on like a house on fire. You've got the same sense of humour, the same work ethic, the same value set, everything. You really get on well, and you really enjoy working with them. And then there is this other person where you're just like, you just miss. You've not got the same work ethic, you've not got the same work values, your sense of humour is different. You just keep missing all the time. You just don't get on with them. And at the end of a working day on this project, the first person comes over to you and says, great job, really enjoyed working with you today, see you tomorrow. How do you feel? What do you think? Now, I've asked this to audiences around the world, and I can guarantee you that pretty much every time, I would say 99.8% of the time, people say the same thing, where they'll be like, oh, well, you know, that was nice, and I'm grateful, and it's lovely to hear, and I probably would say the same thing back, or there's that kind of relationship. And I say, okay, you're still there working, this first person's gone, but the second person comes over, the one that you don't get on with, and they say the same thing, which is, great job, really enjoyed today, see you tomorrow, and off they go. How do you feel now? And so many people will say a similar thing, which is like, what are they after? Why are they being so nice to me? Have I misjudged them? And they start to question it. Now, I know it's an unlikely situation that 2 people are going to say exactly the same words. But let's imagine that those 2 people do say exactly the same words, and yet you feel different after each of them because you think differently about each of those people. It goes to show that your feeling, your reaction to that is about what you're making it mean. It's not about what these people have said. So, i.e., it's not about the sensation of, oh, that's nervousness, or oh, that's excitement. It's what are we making it mean? Is this making sense? Let me know if this is making sense. There was an immediate thumb that went across there. I don't know, it didn't catch the icon, so the image rather, so I couldn't see who it was. But is this making sense to you? Hey, Victoria, the lovely Vicky. Was it sunny in Bradford? But it wasn't. It wasn't sunny here. Never thought of nervousness and excitement being one of the same feeling, but it is. Made of note of that so I can turn those thoughts around in my head and experience them in a more positive way each time and take the best from each situation. So that's brilliant, Vicky. It's about recognizing that it's not about making it go from being nervousness into being excitement, but you can start to play with your thinking and going, well, what if I was just as excited? What would be excited thoughts? And I wonder if I thought excited thoughts, would I experience this differently? And if that's the case, then it shows you that you can think differently, and therefore you've got control of those nerves, and you can relate to it in a different way. Joel says, total sense. I say you live your labels, which is like you experience your meanings. Yeah, in to a certain degree, Joel, absolutely. Yeah, you live your labels. If you're describing yourself in a certain way or those beliefs, then yeah, that's how you're going to be experiencing things. So that's the first two of the basics of what I wanted to share. There is a third. So the first one is to remind you that whether you think you're born with it or not, you can still access confidence. Okay, doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter where you think you are on that level, it is possible. The second thing is recognizing that it's an inside job. If you've never, I don't know if I can do this. Oh, this will be interesting. Stand by for a wobbly camera. Okay, let me see if I can do this. Oh, no, it's not going to let me. I'll have to do it that way. Can you see that? Yeah, it's going to be backwards. Of course, it's going to be backwards. But it says on my computer, it says confidence is an inside job. And if you have one of my business cards or my postcards, and if you haven't, that means we need to meet in person. Then you'll know that is my saying, that is my motto, because I do believe when we can recognise that confidence is an inside job, that we then have not control of it, but we have the ability to be able to access it, rather than us waiting for somebody else to say something nice so that we can feel good, or somebody else to give us validation so that we know that we're good at something. Okay? Now, the third thing is something that is so basic, I forget to do, and it is something that in the last, I think at least 3 confidence conversations, it may have been more than that, I think I've mentioned it every time, so I think it's something that I need to hear because I keep repeating it, which is around using your body. And we forget, we just think that this instrument just, moves however, and that we have no influence and that it doesn't influence us. Well, wherever you are, if it's safe for you to do so right now, either sit or stand, or if you're walking around listening to this, sit, stand or walk as if you are nervous or sad or down in some way, shape or form. Go on, I dare you. I'm not watching you, I can't see you. But sit or stand or walk as if you are nervous or sad or down in some way, shape or form. And I'm going to make an assumption that in some way, shape or form you have made your body smaller. You've hunched down or you've shrunk down, your head's possibly gone down, you're probably not making eye contact, or you're looking around all over the place, you might be wringing your hands. I've done this with people around the world, and it's a similar thing over and over again. If I ask people, stand as if you're nervous, people tend to take on similar body shapes. When I say stand as if you're nervous, people don't do this. They don't put their heads up. They go down. They're averting. They're wanting to be invisible and hide. What we don't realise, or what many people forget, is that body language isn't just something that communicates outward to other people. It communicates to us as well. So a real basic thing that you can start to do to help yourself is actually start to use your body in a way that is helpful to you. So I don't mean in a forced way, but sit, stand or walk around now as if you have genuine confidence. Genuine confidence. And if you have not yet experienced and accessed that fully, just imagine what that would be like. Imagine what it would be like to believe in yourself, to have confidence within you, to know that you can. Whatever it is that you want to, even though you might be nervous and scared, and that's okay, but to know that you can. And again, having done this with people around the world, my guess is that you in some way, shape or form have either sat up, maybe put your shoulders back, definitely will have lifted your head up more. And my guess is if we were in a one-to-one or one group situation, is that you'd be making eye contact or at least looking around the room, and you might even be smiling. And again, that doesn't mean that I've magically done magic power on you and you've suddenly become confident, but your body knows what position to take. So a really basic thing that you can do for yourself is if you're going into a situation where you're not experiencing or not being able to access as much of your confidence as you would like to, just check in with yourself. Okay, so can I help myself more in this way? Can I make sure that I'm got my head up, or that I'm making eye contact, and it doesn't have to be that you have to do the whole thing all in one go. Just choose one thing. So if you know you're a hand wringer, for example, then put your hands flat down by your side or in your well, no, maybe not in your pockets, because you might start playing around with things in your pockets. But put them to one side or hold them in a soft way. Excuse me. And do something different. Or it may be that you just open your shoulders out. Maybe that you take some nice deep breaths. But when you change your body, it's going to help you. It doesn't mean that you're going to, bing, confidence all sorted. But it will give you the opportunity to access even more of it. There's been lots of thumbs going across and weather conversations, of course, because we're in England and Britain, that's what we do, is have weather conversations, especially when we've had it so warm and then it goes so cold and we can't deal with it because we're British. So there's we've got a Bradford and Skipton forecast there. You can keep your snow in Skipton, Joel, that's fine by me. I best watch later, missed the first bit. I could do with a boosting confidence. Hiya, Christopher. Well, that's the whole point, is I think that so often we look for a confidence boost, and whilst a boost is great, it will get us off the ground. And I always think about it in the terms of a rocket. A boost will get us off the ground, but we need the fuel to keep that rocket going. The boosters don't stay on the whole time. It would burn out. That wouldn't be helpful. So it's not about having that constant boosting. It's about finding some consistency, some confidence nourishment, for want of a better way of putting it. So does that all make sense? I'm hoping that's making sense. There were a few thumbs darting across all over. Remember that, as Christopher has just said, you can go back once this is finished. It will immediately go back onto, well, I say immediately, probably takes a few minutes to go back onto Facebook. So if you have missed some stuff, you can go back and watch it again, and you can skip along to the bits. I shouldn't tell you that, really, should I? Have to sit and watch the whole thing. But you can skip to the bits that you missed. Equally, please do remember that you can share this, because I'm pretty sure that you and I both know people that could do with learning some of these confidence basics. So make sure that you share this either to your page, or if there's somebody in particular that you're like, hey, dude, this would be of value to you, then tag them below so that they get to access this. And as somebody said, I introduced my friend to the crazy lady. I even had people, I volunteer at a charity here in York, and it was lovely to meet some people today. They were like, oh, you're a real person. And if you're one of those people who said that to me today, hello to you as well. Shelley says, I've been building on my confidence over the last 4 weeks and it feels wonderful. I can see my confidence has always been there. I'm just building on that now. I also love my body. Oh, sorry. I love to move my body. I love to dance, love the gym, love to walk. Walk, talk and smile at people. It makes me feel confident, and that's a great way to do it, Shelley, is playing around with those things and developing. And I know we've had other conversations as well, so hang on in there. If you've got a question, then please be typing it now. I am going to share something with you that I haven't shared publicly yet, so you are the first people to know. I'm just going to take a swig of my tea. Or not the, I haven't shared it publicly with you yet. But this is my invitation to you. If you are somebody who is part of a business or an organisation, because, as I've just mentioned, I volunteer at a charity here in York. It's a women's project, and it does amazing work, and the demand for it is phenomenal. They have drop-ins a few times a month, and they had, I think it was, I can't remember how many they said now, new members sign up today, and it's just amazing. It's an amazing charity run by a great deal of volunteers. Great deal of volunteers. Amazing. And I wanted to do some fundraising for them. So I've decided to, you may know this bit because I have shared this publicly. I've decided to do a trek in Iceland in July. I think I omitted to see the fact that it said it was a tough challenge. So I've got some training to get into. But that's not the bit really that I want to share with you, although over the next few months I will be doing various different, if I can come up with ideas, if you've got any, that'll be great, ways of fundraising, because I want to utilise a lot of fun things to get a great deal of money in for this amazing and very, very needed charity, not just here in York, but across the UK. But one of the things that I would like to offer is my Truth About Confidence talk, which is an hour long. And if you are or can connect me with somebody within an organisation, I am doing I'm offering to do the talk at a stupid rate, quite frankly. It's 50% discounted rate. Well, it's more than that actually. Discounted rate, and the all of 100% of the profits from that talk will go to this fundraising. So if that's something, if you're part of an organisation, whether it's be, a big corporation, or whether it be that that your organisation that you work for has particular networking meetings, or I met an accountant recently and she said she was part of a accounting group, but they have these wellness talks and have different guests coming in. So if you're somebody, excuse me, who knows an organisation that would value one of these talks, and that by paying for it, the money is going to that charity, then please do get in touch with me, either on here and direct message me, or you can message me, jules@juleswyman.com. And it's I'm excited to be able to offer that. I'm only going to be able to do about 5 between now and June. So there are a very limited number, but if you know of anybody that would welcome me coming in and doing the full hour talk, then wherever they are in the UK, and to be honest, I have done these on Skype to organisations in the States and also in Australia as well. So they are possible to be done over the internet, if that's something that would be of value. So that's my little flag up. If you are somebody who knows an organisation that would value doing that, then I would greatly appreciate you sharing that information and connecting us so that we can have that conversation. So, yes, Joe, I'm local. Yes, I am in York. So that's the basics that I wanted to go through with you this evening. I'm assuming that that's given you enough time to talk, me talk, you type even. And I am just about to finish. So if you are in the midst of typing, don't worry, because you can continue your typing afterwards. And I will come back to your question if it's pops up on the recording. I think that's everything. I'm sure that if you haven't listened to, or when you listen to the 7 keys, if you haven't done so already, the 7 keys of confidence, that it will give you the opportunity to really see the various different ways that you could be blocking yourself and accessing confidence. And actually, I'm hoping that these basics will give you that recognition and realization as well. The key one being that confidence really is an inside job. So it's about you looking at how you can do that for yourself, how you can access it. And to be able to access it, you really need to learn what it is that's blocking your access. So I was just about to say, hopefully that's all made sense. But as I look down and see that Joel said, great stuff, Jules. Thank you, Joel. And Lenka has said, thanks, Jules. Made sense as always. Kiss, kiss, kiss. Back to you, Lenka. Thank you very much for joining this evening. And please do remember to share any of your insights. Thank you, Vicky. Share any of your insights. Share this video. And I look forward to seeing you again back here. Same time, same place next week, 7 p.m. on this page. Take care. Bye.